Welcome to the 2300 Pick 6 podcast. I'm your host, Dave Walker, about to do NFL schedule analysis, part 6. Just coming back from Fanatics Fest, had a very good time. If any of you guys saw the video that was uploaded right now, I had met Michael Irvin, met a couple other celebs, wrestlers, such as, I'm going to show you the photos right now, such as Trish Stratus. Speaking of which, I have my binder up. So before we get into our show, I'm going to get a little bit. This is going to go a little bit long. It possibly might go long. So I'm going to show you my other photos too. And there's some exciting stories and tales with them. So the first one I've met is Trish Stratus at Fanatics Fest. Very nice lady. Met her when she was at WrestleCon in Philadelphia when WrestleMania 40 came to town. Very nice. Met her. So I have other photos too. So I'll put it in there that each has a little story of its own. Some have their own story and others don't. So I'm going to put that in there. If this thing ever wants to cooperate. Damn it. Come on, get in there. So this is going to be one for a blooper reel one day. Of course, I had to buy the cheap-ass ones from the fucking Dollar Tree. There we go. We got it in there. All righty. Get in there. All righty. So I'm going to show you my other photos too that I have over the years. If my video camera will pick up my binder. So I'm going to move this over here, our camera to here, so I could show you what they all look like. So my first one, if you can see, that is me and Anna Jay from AEW, one of my favorite AEW wrestlers, which I've met 5 times. She is very nice, always has been nice to me. Wished me happy birthday back when the AEW wrestler came in Philadelphia last year. Thank you, Anna. Also did not like when that dumbass fan hugged her without consent. And I really wanted to punch his lights out, but it really wasn't worth me getting arrested. But that is a true story that people who were there know it. This one was from in Philadelphia, went for WrestleCon when I met her a second time. This, and of course my binder wants to act up. Give me a sec, folks. Okay, there we go. That right there is in Vegas. She gave me that one. The trading card was from my friend Ricky Storm, a.k.a. Rick Jackson. Thank you very much. Anna signed that for me, which I finally got that done. And there's other signs she signed too, but I'm not in the mood to go right now and getting those right now. That one was from WrestleCon in Philly. And that one was from ECW the first time when I met her. Big event when I met her. And well, when it was just tied because Anna didn't show up for the one in New York, which I did get finally back made up for the one in Vegas. This is with me and the Babes of Wrath, Willow and Harley Cameron. Harley is very, very nice. I've been hugged by her 4 times. Willow, too. Hugged by her once. Very nice woman, both of those two. Me and Harley at WrestleCon, New York, New Jersey. Is deciding to do this today. There we go. Whew. Might have to get a new binder pretty soon. Damn. I've loaded this thing for bear. All right. That one was from WrestleCon in Vegas. Also WrestleCon in Vegas, signed by both Harley and Willow, if you guys can both see that. That was from WrestleCon in Vegas when Harley signed that. And now we have that one I got was in WrestleCon Philly before Harley got big as she is today. Me and Timeless Toni Storm. When I met her as Classic, it was still cool, but as Timeless, it was way even better. That was in Newark, New Jersey. That I got in Newark, New Jersey right there, so I'll show that back if we didn't get that. So if you didn't see it, there it is. That I got in Vegas with her and Luther at the time when I was at AEW Dynasty in Philadelphia, where she beat Megan Bayne. That was at an AEW Dynamite show in Philadelphia before it was Timeless. And I got that at Big Event with her tag team partner, Mina Shirakawa. This is me and the New Age Outlaws, one of my favorite tag teams of all, where me and Road Dogg and Badass Billy Gunn are doing the DX Crush Shop, which I didn't know they were pointing at my dick later on. That one is, dang it. Of course, this is going to act up. Oh, got on there. Good. That one is a classic photo signed by Road Dogg and Badass Billy Gunn. That I got in Philadelphia was him as Daddy Ass. This was recently when I was at WrestleMania, me and Jacob Fatu. Also, when I was in Vegas, me and Big E. Me and Nick Aldis right now. I do have a photo with me and Gunter, which I think is probably coming up next. I hope I didn't spoil that. No, I didn't. The next one I have is me and the old Texas Rattlesnake himself, Stone Cold Steve Austin. This is, there we go. This is me and Gunter. Me and The Miz. Even though I don't know if he's Kirk, because I do have Saturday Night's Main Event on right now. So this is me and Wade Barrett. Me and Liv Morgan, which I do have a photo of that too. So I'm going to show that right now too. So I'm going to post that right there where I have me and Liv Morgan, which I got today, which is the second one with me and Liv. Bill, I know if you listen to this show, you may be a little bit jealous. Sorry, bro, but I got that one too. Let me put this in a cover. I'm going to put that right there. Dang it. Of course, I had to go to freaking Dollar Tree for these. It was closer to my apartment. It's not like I was going to a big con. Like, if I was going to be for weeks and weeks in advance, I was going to be staying on site. And I would have got the better ones at the Staples. But that is me and Liv Morgan. Let me see if I got room here to fit it. Alrighty. That is in there now. And I'm going to move the camera back over again so I can show y'all again. So that is me and Liv. That is me and Damian Priest. Met him twice, once in Philadelphia while I was waiting to go into SmackDown. And then this is my paid one. This is me and Jamie Hayter, one of my other favorite AEW female wrestlers, and one of Ricky Storm's too. Shout out to you, bud. Me and Bill Goldberg. I have that too. Dang it. Give me a sec. There we go. I got to fix that one. Yeah, eventually I'm going to have to get me a new binder because I think I've loaded this one now for Bear. Because I've had so many photos I've bought over the years. That is me, and that is Lillian Garcia. The model, Rick Martel. Me and Big Stoke. Funny story with that is my friend and Bobby Harris, if you listen to this, literally threatened to slash his tire when he kept literally getting into his face, kept chanting, Stokely has no hose, Stokely has no hose. Oh, Stokely has no hose. But it's more of, he's a nice guy, pretty cool. So I don't know if these got picked up or not because I didn't know I had the camera up in the air. So here's the ones that I just did, and I'll redo again. Elena Black, Cora Jade, met her at Big Event, New York. Me and that is Tommaso Ciampa, which I'm probably, I'll watch the next pay-per-view is AEW Redemption, where I see him take on the Painmaker Chris Jericho in a no-holds-barred match, which should be very, very good. Me and Santino Marella. I don't like the fact that he photobombed my photo with me and Julia Hart. I wish he would have had more badges because I wouldn't have mind wearing that there that day. Me and the Young Bucks that I got done on my birthday. Very cool. Thanks, guys. Me and Mick Foley. Very cool dude now in AEW. So I'm hoping that he does still stay in the wrestling business. Me and Tiffany Stratton. It's Tiffy time. Nice one there. That is me and the Toxic Spider, Tekla Very cool. Glad she's still a champ. I have a bad feeling she's going to lose at that redemption of Willow. That is a triangle match. Needs just one more signature. That would be Sky Blue, who I have also matched. That is also Tekla. Me and the Righteous from TNA. Cool tag team. Very nice guys. Both Dutch and I forget what the first one's name is. Damn, it'll come to me. Evil Uno from the Dark Order. Very cool. Me and Lyra Valkyria, before she turned heel, became crazy. And she's going to be taking on Bailey later on tonight. Me and Stevie Ray, who gave us the good term of fruit booties. That is me and Kazuchika Okada, the Rainmaker. Sorry, no speaking English, bitch. That was my worst Okada impression. Here's that one too. That one too. Me and Will Ospreay, and soon to be champ if he does have to take him when he takes on Kenny at All In his home. There is his wife, Alex Wenza. Met her too, and I'm hoping that her and Jamie get the tag belts at All In. That is me, Athena, and Billy Starks have photos. I have other photos too on my phone. Maybe down the road. I don't know. Depending how far this episode goes, it depends. If we get this done to a finale, I'll think down the road to upload all those other photos I have on my phone too, and put it in a slideshow. Me and Chelsea Green, as I said before, and I'll say again if I ever go to another con, I see it. To all the men and everybody out there, God, please protect Chelsea Green at all costs. We need to protect this woman. That's when she was still doing Laurel Van Ness. Do have a bigger one too. There's one that's not in here. I have a big, large photo of me and the Nature Boy, Ric Flair. Woo! Me and Alexa Bliss. Very nice. I wish she would have been Saturday, but unfortunately it was Thursday and I didn't have time off for that. But if they do another Fanatics Fest, she's there. Oh, I'm going to go to all four. That's from SummerSlam. And that was from last year's Fanatics Fest. Bianca Belair. Hope you have a healthy baby, boy or girl. Now, that's me and C.D. Lamb right there from last year's Fanatics where he signed my jersey. So I have met 3 Cowboys so far. Him, Emmett, and Michael Irvin. Unfortunately, I missed my photo op because it was in a longer line with Liv and Trish. But I did get my jersey autograph, which I'm going to show when we cross that bridge. When I get done this, I'll show that off. Speaking of which, when I just said, Emmett Smith. Now, Fanatics Fest, if you're listening to this, if you can get me Troy Aikman, oh, I got the whole triplets, literally. I'll be set for life. Me and the Dead Man, The Undertaker, my childhood hero and one of my all-time favorite wrestlers. That is me and Fraxium. I think one of them's gone. I don't know if they're still there or not. That is me and Soul when she was the Speed Champion and the NXT North American Women's Champion and now the Intercontinental Champion females. Me and Trick Williams. Whoop that trick. Me and Grayson Waller, the original Taylor Swift hater. Literally, because that's literally, he was the original before me, and that's what people always used to call me, Grayson Walker, except the difference, I don't have the Australian accent, and I don't wear a good Australian shirt. Me and All Ego Ethan Page. I used to always think that guy literally in real life was a douche and a jackass in real life when he did that stupid pose, but when you talk to him in real life, he is a real cool-ass dude. Me and X-Pac. Because I like to say, one cool-ass motherfucker. Me and Shotzi before she got released. That is me and Scarlett and Cross. They're no longer there. They're on the indies. That is me and Kalani Jordan. I think I went past it. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I went past 2. Okay, so I got me and Austin Theory. Cool. With Maxine Dupree, who's now in division. Me and Tully Blanchard. That is Mustafa Ali. Moose. If I had my damn hand wasn't on this computer and this camera, I would literally do the damn signal, but I cannot. That is Frankie Kazarian I have. Like I said, I have other photos on my phone. There's going to be a day I'll upload all those. I don't know exactly when, for free time, depending on how you want to do it. Me and Mama Wayne and Nick Wayne. ECW Original Rhino. My favorite and Knockouts champion, Zaya Brookside, also is a Cowboys fan, which I didn't know, thanks to Rick asking her, which I didn't know that she was, because I thought for her being from England, I didn't think she watched the NFL, but I was very shocked she does. Even though as a heel Zaya, I still love you. And I hope you do come to Philly when you are in Philadelphia. When I go to the show, I hope you are one of the meet and greets. If TNA is listening to this. That is all of the Rascals, all of them. One in wrestler in AEW, one is back in TNA with the String Hill. Me and the Big Show. Tell you one thing with the Big Show is, when he shook my hand the first time, he almost crushed it. As big as he is. Layla L. The Hurt Syndicate, we hurt people. I've got all three of them. Powerhouse Hobbs, now Royce Keys. Carmella. Tessa Blanchard. Very nice, and I'll say this, the story, I really didn't think I was going to have fun meeting her because I thought of all the reports that came out about her. Very nice woman, is very patient. The one time I was waiting on my photo op with her, she was like, oh, thank you for your patience. I was like, oh, you're cool, we're cool. Yeah, she literally took the photo with me. She's very cool and nice. No longer in TNA, though, but that's that. That was my first one. This is my second one with her. I got that in Vegas. Nia Jax, very cool woman. Very cool. That's me and Nia. The Machine Guns, who are no longer there, which is probably going to be AEW bound for all I know. Taking on the Young Bucks. Profits, this was last year's WrestleMania, before they lost the belts. Drew McIntyre, I'm going to give a story on this. When I was reading Saraya's book, Pages, heard that he literally protected her from a pedo, stopped it. That's why I literally bought his meet and greet and wanted to meet, even though he sold out. I got that through a third party, and I was glad I met Drew. Speaking of which, me and Saraya, or Paige, even though she just lost the belt right now, but very cool meet and greet. Met her twice last year before she went back to WWE, and this was last year in Vegas. Very nice. I didn't really expect her to give me a hug. She is a good hugger, and I literally hugged her back the next time we met to reciprocate the favor. But she is a very nice woman. Me and the APA, we got both Ron Simmons and JBL. Mina Shirakawa, very nice and cute. Claudio Castiglione. I am actually a one part of the Death Riders. I've met so far out of the Death Riders. Mox, Garcia, Yuta, and Marina Shafir. Basically everyone except for Pat. That's the one I've not met. That is Lacey Evans. That is me. I have the Hitman, me and Bret the Hitman Hart. Indy Hartwell. Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville, better known as Daria Ray. Easy E. Bischoff. That is a photo of Mr. Do my best impression of this from WWE and TNA. He was there. Mr. Anderson. Brooke Tessmacher. Sergeant Slaughter. AJ Lee, I got that way before she came back to WWE last year. So it was my first big event 2 years ago. I got that. Say his name and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry. Which I do have a photo of Joe Hendry. Which I'm going to put in the binder right now. Give me a second. I think I might have dropped all my covers. Damn it. Did I drop all my covers? Damn it. I know something fell when I was doing it. Oh, there it is. That was my first one I found. Alrighty, we're back. I had to pick up one photo that fell. So if you didn't see, I left off on was Joe Hendry. And that was when he was still in TNA before he came to WWE. That was my first one. I went to Dave & Buster's when me and my friend Ricky Storm took me. Now, these are from TNA. That's me. That's Alicia Edwards and Masha Slamovich, who is no longer there. The Hardy Boys, delete, delete, delete. That is me and LA Knight when WrestleMania came to Philly. Yeah! Me and Dirty Dom, Dominic Mysterio. Funny story with that when I met him in Philadelphia WrestleMania when I had my VIP meet and greet with him, when everybody was booing him at the Slammies. I told Dom, make you feel better? I didn't boo you like the rest of these ignorant sheep did out here. He just got a chuckle out of it. And there's that one with Dom. Me and that's the Japanese Bud Shaw to Jerry from ECW. One of my favorite female wrestlers and also one of my two favorite celeb cowboy fan. Sorry, I met my Mickey first before I met you. She's my number one. You're number two in cowboy fan list. Mickie James. Miss Hardcore Country. And Mickie has signed a couple of my Cowboys jerseys. She has signed my Lamb jersey, my Prescott jersey, my Trayvon Diggs jersey, which I know he's no longer there. But I'm still going to keep it. When we cross that bridge, I'll show you my Michael Irvin jersey that I got autographed today when we crossed that bridge. That is Ricky Saints. It was Ricky Starks. That is me and Ronda Rousey. I thought she was going to be a bitch in that meet and greet, but she's really cool. That is Deonna Purrazzo. The original Broman Bro. Matt Riddle. Mandy. That is me and CJ Perry, a.k.a. Lana. Bailey. I don't think they did Bailey's match yet. No, we're still on, I think Danhausen was next. The GOAT, Rey Mysterio. Mr. 619 himself with me and him. Red Velvet. I'm mad at her for what she did, causing that injury to Will and fucked everything up here. Serena Deeb. That is Willow Nightingale, what she's doing to Julia Hart. Speaking of which, Sky Blue, or Cruella de Sky, which you look very good in that one. Steve, if that thing wasn't personalized to me, I would sell that to you, buddy. And same with this one. Me and the Stinger. That is me and WWE Hall of Famer. I have the Honky Tonk Man. Mikey Whipwreck, which I have from ECW. God rest his soul. The suicidal, homicidal Sabu. Ashwin Elegance, Dana Brooke. Out of the ones out of the Elegance brand I like are Heather and M and the Concierge. Mr. Elegance, I'm not a fan of because I think he's a damn weirdo. I'm going to need a binder pretty soon. That is Perry Saturn I have. Terry Reynolds. Rusev, before he came back to WWE when he was Miro, he made a crack in a joke with me when I was wearing an Anna J shirt. Walk with Elias, now Elijah in TNA. That is Victoria / Lisa Marie. I do a very good sell job for when she strangles people. I do from The Simpsons. Maria Kanellis, very nice woman. Candice Michelle, very nice, and former Playboy cover girl, which you saw even with Maria. That is me and Blake Monroe back then where she was Mariah May in AEW. Trish, which I'm going to put right now. The camera go out? Oh, let me see. We still filming? Okay, we are. Okay, I thought it went out. Good, it didn't. Probably just did that. If it did, whatever. I don't care. It's like there's a lot in here, so it doesn't matter. And I might upload during the time. I don't know exactly yet when. There's my first one. Here it is. There it is. Okay. I said this probably is going to go a little long here. There we go. There's my other Trish. That is Trish and Lita Team Bestie. Me and Nick Neva, the Wanted Man. Dolph, well, that's when he was still Dolph on WWE. Me and Ruby Soho, I got this 2 years ago at Icon of Philly. Didn't know she was a Cowboys fan. I was just wearing my Cowboys hat in ECW Arena because Philly was on a 2-game losing streak at that time. Dallas was on a win streak, and they had just beat Philadelphia. And I was like, I don't think Philly is going to do anything. They're on a losing streak, so I just wore my hat. Didn't know she was a Cowboys fan. And she just wrote it for me. Booker T. King Booker. The five-time WCW champion. Me, that says Dawn Marie. Fonzie. MJF with the devil mask. And I did make it out unscathed. I didn't get insulted because this was at a Monster Mania at Cherry Hill back in 2023. When I got there, MJF was actually, it's a really cool dude in real life. But when I Scarco, he can be a in-character dick when he's in character. I don't mind an in-character dick than being a real-life dick. He is a real-life kayfabe dick, and it's really cool because you want to get insulted by getting insulted by him as a badge of honor. Unfortunately, I didn't because I had a shirt on. And by the time we get done a photo op, he talks to me and my friend Ricky Storm. He goes, "Oh, hey, by the way, I was asleep in that mask." And it was like, when we get done, we're like, "Did we just have a conversation with MJF?" There's the one with me and with him without the devil's mask. That is all the JAS. The only one I just need is Jericho and Cool Hand Angelo. I got them all signed by everybody. That is Danny Garcia. Funny story. Every time I take a photo with Danny, everybody thinks he's pissed at me, but Danny's really cool. And there was a time when I thought Anna Jay was going to be at the Full Gear the first time. He goes like, "Why are you trying to get what?" I was like, "No." He goes like, "David, he was kidding around with you." I was like, "Oh, okay. I didn't know if he was being real. I thought he was being protective." To be honest with you. Sammy and Ty. Sammy is a cool dude. Both of us like Dragon Ball Z, and I thought me and him would both have a difference of opinion. And Sammy, if you listen to my podcast, I got to find those Dragon Ball Z pins, man. If I can ever find them, I'm going to give them to you. Me and Stat, Chris is one cool cat, man. I love Chris. That is Lita. Well, there's my photo with Lita, too. Me and that's Demolition right there. Cardona. Earl Hebner. Funny story. I was trying to get him to sign a Bret Hart photo. You screwed Bret for my friend just to mess with him. I think I wanted him, but he wasn't going to do it because it would get back to Bret. That is David Arquette. I do have a photo with him too. Him in RJ City. Like I said, down the road, I might upload all my photos of all who I've met over the years, wrestlers and athletes over the years. The Godfather. Pimpin' ain't easy, man, as he says. The voice of our motherfucking childhood, Tony Schiavone. Allie. Big horror fan. That was with Jason, Freddy Krueger. That one is she's a bunny with her tag team partner, Knockout Champion, TNA Knockouts Champ. Tag champ, both of them are. Rosemary. I'm shocked Cooper just ain't got booed in New York. Well, technically it is New York. I like the Knicks, for God's sake. That's when she was Chucky. Rosemary, one of my all-time favorite TNA knockouts. Up there was Brookside, too. That is Lance Anoa'i. I think that was, I forget who this one is. That DB gave me that a while back. I can't remember. Summer Rae. That is Layla Gray, now with Top Flight. Rikishi, I did it for The Rock. Like this podcast, I did it for The Rock. The Cat, Ernest Miller. Somebody call my mama. Tommy Cairo. Funaki, indeed. The Iconics, well, now the Inspiration, they cost way too much, and I'm never going to want to meet and greet with them. They charge way too fucking much. Caitlin. Sonny Ono and the Ultimo Dragon. Jerry Lynn. Don Callis. Funny story I'm going to tell you. When I met him at Baltimore at Celeb Fest, he said, "Which photo do you want?" I said, "The one where you put the screwdriver to Kenny Omega and someone hanging over our mantle." I wasn't really trying to get Don Callis to break. It's just my personality. I can be very funny at times. And that was just me being funny. Me and both Colton and Austin Gunn in the Bang Bang Gang at the time before they were in it was just the Gun Club. I had a story with them. I said, "Hey, can you sign it?" Not Ass Boys. I guess sure, because literally I've got a meet and greet with them back when I went to my very first Full Gear. Some dumbass said call them out Ass Boys, and then I had to bring it back for everybody and call them the Gun Club. Jerry the King Lawler and good old JR. Very cool dudes. That's good old JR right there. Mr. Monday Night, Mr. Pay-Per-View himself and Money in the Bank, Mr. Rob Van Dam. One I lived to regret, and this happened during COVID, was Mercedes Moné, but I did get it during my birthday, and that was just because it was my birthday and it was bad judgment, which I live to regret. Jillian Hall. Randy Orton and his father. Eventually, if Fanatics Fest does another with Randy, I got to get that signed by him. Mr. J.J. Dillon, a member of the Four Horsemen. Ricochet before he went to AEW. The Beautiful People, Velvet Sky and Angelina Love. Kelly Kelly. Barbie Blank, but very, very cute. Dr. Britt Baker. Britt, we miss you. I hope you do come back to AEW sometime soon or wherever you go. The Nasty Boys and Jimmy Hart. The World's Most Dangerous Man, Ken Shamrock, the original ankle lock guy. Candice LeRae. Before she came back to WWE. Swerve. I always used to think Swerve in real life was a dick, but he was just in character. But Swerve is a real cool cat and a real cool-ass motherfucker. Keith Lee, I don't think I'm ever going to get. Johnny. Never he stops planking. The Slickster. Turn out the lights. The party's over. Our Olympic hero, it's damn true, Kurt Angle. Scorpio Sky. Got that the night when he won the TNT title in Philadelphia. That was my first full AEW Dynamite show. Me and the Acclaimed. Sometimes I can pass for Max Cash. This is before he had the mustache. Speaking of which, me and Mr. Danhausen, you are cursed. And for Cowboy fans out there, I will say this. If it gets to the point, let's say, God forbid, we do get in the playoffs. I don't know when, how far you want to go. Anybody wants to go pay him to help us? I'm not getting involved in this. I do not, and I do not take responsibility. Just be careful what you do with Danhausen if you decide to do that. Just be very careful playing with a special natural force. One sec. Let me get that pipe. Ow, dang it. Oh, man. We got like almost there in here. Me and Wardlow, I didn't know he was a Cowboys fan when I met him in my first full gear in Jersey. I just had my Dallas Cowboys, and he's like, "Oh, hey, nice hat." I was like, "What?" And I didn't know he was doing the Jedi mind trick, but he really is a Cowboy fan in real life, which I didn't know. The Wyatt family, God rest his soul, Bray, and you too, Luke Harper. Well, better wide known as Mr. Brody Lee. I wish I would have met him. Jack Perry and Luchasaurus. I got a funny story on Jack Perry. When I was at WrestleCon in Vegas, saw my lock screen with me and Anna Jay, and I thought he was going to literally try to flip him with the national title when he's a national champ. But he was like, "Nah, man, we're cool. You pay for that. We're cool." So Jack Perry's a cool dude with that, and we and him are very cool. So don't try to stir shit between me and Mr. Perry, please. Even though in Philadelphia at the time when I met him at an awkward market, I was just throwing away a bottle of water. I was like, Jack Perry. And then the next thing came in my mind, I was like, "Hey, can I get a photo with you, man?" I was like, "Oh, yeah, sure, man. Cool." That is SoCal Val. Very cool. And she gave me a free subscription to her OnlyFans. Julia Hart, very nice woman. I'll say one thing. People get on her because she doesn't smile in photos. She's in character, folks. She plays a dark character. When the camera's not there, she's a very, very sweet person, and she is very, very fun to talk to. The bad girl, Penelope Ford. Met her so many times, and her husband, Kip. They are both very, very cool. If anybody ever gets to meet them. Speaking of which, there is Kip Sabian. Gail Kim, one of my favorite TNA knockouts, the longest reigning TNA champ. Alicia Fox, Foxy, better known as Victoria Crawford. Mark Henry, where I got the phrase from where AEW so it's just been enough time for talk. It's time for the main event, which I use it's time for kickoff. Me and DDP. His DDP yoga helped my back during COVID. Thank you, DDP. Christy Hemme. The Steiner brothers, both. I'll tell you one thing is, Scotty might come off as a tough and badass and a dick, but the day I met him, he was real cool with me. The Hex, that is Marty Bell and Allison Kay. Better known as Sienna. Melina. The Snake Man himself, Jake the Snake Robert. Trust me. Money Inc., the $1 Million Man, and IRS. Everybody's got a price for the $1 Million Man. Dean Malenko. Holla, holla, holla. Teddy Long. The Mountie. The Mountie always gets his man. FTR. Very cool dude. I'll tell a story on FTR. When I was at Icons, right before I was about to meet them, Enzo hops into the photo. Enzo Amore, NZO. He takes a photo with them, like they're catching up and reminiscing. He goes to me, "Hey, man, you want to get in a photo? We'll give him free of charge." Like, yeah, sure, man. I got Enzo free of charge. The Dudley Boys. I'll say this on Bubba. Bubba's a real cool dude, just depending what mood he's in, but he was real cool with me. Just the time when Devon went there, he was bully, right? But in this is he's a real cool dude. Arn Anderson, another of the Four Horsemen. I've met all of them. I've met, except for Barry Windham's the only one I have not met. Best friends, give the people what they want. Eventually, I got to get Trent Beretta to sign it. I don't know if he'll ever sign it. And Chuck Taylor, but Chuck Taylor's behind the scenes. But next time, if I'm at another AEW show, I'm going to see if I can get Chuck to sign it. Raven, quote the Raven, nevermore. What about me? What about Raven? Vicky Guerrero, excuse me. That's the worst impression I ever did. Shane Douglas and the Francine. Cut the fucking music. Francine herself. And that's it. That's all the photos I have from over the years. Like I said, maybe eventually down the road, I will upload the ones I have met from my phone and do it as a slideshow/collage. So I'll decide on that down the road. I just don't know exactly when I am going to do that. But also, I do have my jersey, which was signed by Playmaker himself, Michael Irvin. That video is uploaded on my channel. If you want to check it out, you can also subscribe too. So here's that right there. If we can get the signature, and it is also authenticated. All righty. Now we're going to get down to business. But first, let me close my binder. Because I didn't know, because this was going to be me getting on a little nostalgia trip right there. And I knew I was going to put those in there. And I was like, you know what? Let me show the binder to people over the years so they could finally get to see who I have met, what I have collected over the years. So I said, eventually I will upload who I have met. It's going to be in like a little slideshow, probably depending on how this goes. Like I said, I don't know how far we're going to get tonight. This could be the final episode before the hiatus, depending how many we get into the deck. If not, I'll probably do that down the road, like maybe in August, maybe like before then. But I'll decide on that when I cross that bridge. I'll wait and see. let me fix this binder first before I close it. And I do need a new binder because, yeah, this thing is getting full to capacity right now. So we'll do that. I don't really care what. Oh, here we go. This is the order it is in. Now, give me a sec here. So we're just going to put these back. Then we're going to close this binder. And then I will put it up. And then we're going to get into the show. Give me a sec here, folks, because I didn't expect that thing to do this, like I said. There we go. Trust me, in the audio version, I'm going to cut it. This is the video version, so I can't edit tape and edit this on a dub just yet, but we'll wait and see when we cross that bridge. I might have to put that as a shirt, cross that bridge. I like saying that so much. Damn it. Where does this thing need to get fixed? All right, so that's where it needs to get fixed at. Right, let's do this because I got to figure out where all these came out at. All right, there we go. All righty. No, it's still not good. Damn it. All right, hold up. Let's see what we got here. All right. Still not fixed. All right, that's where it needs to get fixed. Okay. Okay, we're going to fix this. So we're going to do this first, and then I'll start the show. So I'll put these where they all go. At least it wasn't the Anna one, because I know that goes on top. Anna's my number one AEW crush. Second in Harley. And then third, Julia. And then Chris. And then Jamie and the rest. Here we go. Like I said, a lot of this is going to get cut when we get to it. Damn it, Lyra went through a war to beating Bailey. Damn. So we've already, it looks like we've got new tag champs. And I don't have this thing on because I don't need the WWE to cancel my podcast. Put the sound on. So. Dang. Yeah, it looks like she done kicked Bailey out. It looks like, well, Bailey might be AEW bound. We'll wait and see when we cross that bridge, when I cross it. There probably will be a drinking game. God forbid how many times I've said that, cross that bridge. God forbid if I ever get my own T-shirts, that is going to actually be one of my own things. Cross that bridge, cross that bridge. Dang! Yes, folks, I am watching Saturday Night's Main Event in the process, too, because right now, Lyra is literally beating the shit out of Bailey right now. And I think we might be seeing the last of Bailey before. I don't know if her contract is up or she might be going to AEW. And I hope to God she doesn't be Mercedes Moné's fucking lacking. All right, so I got a lot of vowels here, so they got to go together. No, we're still good. Like I said, I don't know how long this is going. Like I said, I kind of knew I had a feeling this would go long. There's a possibility it could go longer, pending when I cut everything, when I get rid of the dead air and everything. There we go. All right, I need all my vowels. So that is, Julia, because I know I have more vowels. Dang it. Ow. Oh, man. Let's try this again. Oh, man. Alrighty, here we go. That goes with that. Well, actually, let me put that back, because that was the first one. This is my second one. I got a Juliet. Alright, that is Penelope. Okay, that is Melina. No, that's Gail Kim. Sorry, Gail Kim. I know I said Melina. I know I have another Val. I think I got like 3 SoCal Vals. Or 4. I can't remember. Okay, so I have 4. There's the other 2. They're going to WrestleMania watch party because y'all decided to take that shit to Saudi. Yeah, WWE, you ain't getting me going to Saudi. Not this bear. All right, we're almost done. Rather get my singles out the way first, and then my group ones. Eventually, I am going to get a new binder, and I probably might divide all this up from WWE to TNA to AEW. One of them will do. Like one binder will be AEW, the other will be WWE/TNA. And then random too. Dang. Damn, my arm is killing me right now. Oh. All right, there we go. Got that in. All right, that's my group ones with me and Danhausen. So I'm going to put anything that's in a group last. All right, these are not in a group, so this is fine. Okay. Okay. We're almost there, folks. Bear with us here. We're almost there. I'll be glad when I get my own new place. I'm going to have me my wall of fame of the ones I like. I'll hang on my wall. Well, first off, Andy's going to be hung on the wall first. Yeah, that's an obvious one. Give me a sec. Damn it. Come on, get. Damn it. Come on. We only got 2 more on here. Then we're all good to go here. All right, hold up. We're almost there. We're almost there. There we go. That one. And damn it. And then there was one. Hold up. Let's do this because I don't want to have to redo all this again. Really? I'll deal with this after. I'm not redoing all this. I do need to get a new binder eventually. And I will deal with this later. I'm not redoing this. I'll deal with this later. I'll reorganize everything. So everything's coming off. I'm not redoing this again. So on to the show. Let me get the pillow from my back because I didn't know that fell. There we go. Alrighty. After we've been in delay and I went down an hour of nostalgia lane, we're now going to start the actual show. So we are down to the final 6 teams. So I don't know how many it's going to be tonight. If it hits 5, I'm going to call this the season finale. If it hits 4, then that means we're going to have one more episode with everything involved in it. So I'm going to shuffle this deck right now, and let's see what we do. All righty. First team on the list is, well, it's a skip, so somebody's getting skipped. Well, it would have been the division picks. That's skipped. Wild card, my choice. So let's see who this first team is going to be. So I'm going to go to my list. Let me get a drink. Oof, down with that. Damn. Well, at least the pages wasn't open, thank God. All righty. So the one we're going to do is the Cincinnati Bengals. So for the Bengals, did not make the playoffs. Joe Burrow got injured week 2. Was not enough to get them in the playoffs. Don't have a good end defense. Trey Hendrick now been on to the Ravens. The thing that the Bengals need is an O-line. Can Joe Burrow finally stay healthy? Since I've been doing this podcast, I don't think he has stayed healthy. Season 1, I don't think he did not. Season 2, I think he did stay healthy. And last year, he didn't stay healthy. So can Joe Burrow finally stay healthy? And can the Bengals get back to the supremacy that they used to be, which is making the playoffs and being a dominant team in the AFC? We'll wait and see. So I'm going to pull up the Bengals schedule right now. All right, Cincinnati's first game of the season is against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which should be a very good game and a sleeper good game week 1. I'm going to take the Bengals in this one here. I think it's going to be very, very close. I'd say the curse of Joe Burrow ends again. He won't be losing on opening day like he has in the past. Last year, he did not. He broke that trend. So they're going to be 1-0. Next game they have against is the Texans in Houston. That game would have been in Cincinnati. I would have took the Bengals in this one. But in Houston, I'm going to say you're going to be 1-1. Against Pittsburgh, you will get a win and bounce back. You get a win there. Against Jacksonville in Cincinnati, good game, close one. I say Cincy takes that one. They'll get a win there. Against the Dolphins in Miami, they'll get a win there. Against the Ravens, they're both going to split. They're going to lose that one in Baltimore. Against the Titans, a bounce back win. Against the Falcons, they get a win there. Against Pittsburgh, I'm going to say that could be the fuck you game. So I'm going to say no. I'm going to say sweep. They're going to sweep the Steelers. They're going to sweep them. They get a sweep there. Against the Commanders, they get a win. Against the Saints, they get a win. Against Cleveland, in Cleveland, that could be the proverbial fuck you game to them. So I'm going to say that could be a loss. Against the Chiefs, this time in Cincinnati, they get a win. Against the Panthers, that one I'm going to see a loss because Carolina has done good at home, and there's games that they should not be winning, and this is one of those instances. Against the Colts, a bounce-back win. Against Baltimore, they get the win on New Year's Eve. And then against Cleveland, they win there. So a breakdown of the Bengals' record. They're going to be 1-0 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 1-1 against Houston, 2-1 against Pittsburgh,
3-1 against the Jacksonville Jaguars, 4-1 against Miami, 4-2 against Baltimore, 5-2 against the Titans, 6-2 against the Falcons, 7-2 against the Steelers, 8-2 against Washington, 8-3 against New Orleans, 8-4 against Cleveland, 9-4 against the Chiefs, 9-5 against the Panthers, 10-5 against the Colts, 11-5 against the Ravens. They're going to be 12-5. Now, I don't know how far they'll make it to the playoffs if they get it, barring if Joe Burrow can stay healthy. Next one on the list is, where the frick is my pen? Oh, it's by me. Okay. Next one is skip. So let's see who's getting skipped. There would have been the Smurfs. So we're not doing that one. Kansas City Chiefs is the next one. All righty, for the Chiefs. First game back for Patrick Mahomes. He's coming back from his ACL injury. A lot of people think this could be the Patrick Mahomes revenge tour. The Chiefs did get Kenneth Walker III for a running back. Receiver-wise, they're going to need a little bit of help. And defensive-wise, they're still going to need a little bit of help because McDuffie went to the Rams. But all in all, we're going to see how this Chiefs team do. Are they going to go back to the playoffs? Or are they going to try to get Super Bowl and repeat and try to get back to what they once were? We'll wait and see. So for the Chiefs schedule, Chiefs' first game is against the Denver Broncos on Monday Night Football. I'm going to call that a loss right there in Arrowhead. These two teams are going to split, and I think Denver ruins Patrick Mahomes' homecoming. So they're going to be 0-1. Against the Colts, they get a bounce-back win at home. They're going to be 1-1. Against the Dolphins, they're going to smoke them. That's a win right there. Against the Raiders, I really don't need to do the James Harden high roll on this. That's a win. Against the Chargers, they get a win there. Against the Seahawks in Seattle, that is a loss. That's going to be very tough sledding for them to win in Seattle. Against the Broncos, they get a bounce-back win close. They split with Denver. Against the Jets, they get a win there. Against the Atlanta Falcons, they get a win there. Against the Cardinals, smoke them. They get a win there. Against the Bills in Buffalo, will lose that game because Josh Allen has beaten the Chiefs in the regular season, cannot get it done in the playoffs. Against the Rams, that will be a loss. They're going to lose in LA. Against the Bengals, that will be a loss. Against the Patriots, they get a bounce-back win there, being off a 3-game losing streak. Against the 49ers, they get a win. They've handled the Niners with ease. Against the Chargers, they get a win there. You know what? I'm going to say a split. I think the Chargers are going to pull a fuck you game. That's going to be a fuck you game right there. And then against the Raiders at the end of the season, they get the win there. So a breakdown out of the Chiefs record. They will be 0-1 against Denver, 1-1 against the Colts, 2-1 against Miami, 3-1 against the Raiders, 4-1 against the Chargers, 4-2 against Seattle, 5-2 against Denver, 6-2 against New York, 7-2 against Atlanta, 8-2 against the Cardinals, 8-3 against the Bills, 8-4 against the Rams, 8-5 against the Bengals, 9-5 against the Patriots, 10-5 against the 49ers, 11-5 against 10-6 against the Chargers. So they're going to go 11-6. Not enough to win their division, but they're going to be in a wild card. Our third team on the list is the Las Vegas Raiders. So we get into some crap. Joy. All righty. So for the Raiders, Pete Carroll has been fired. He's no longer the coach there. Geno Smith is going. Now Kirk Cousins is the quarterback. They did draft, I think, Fernando Mendoza. I can't remember what his name was. We'll see what happens with their. Still have Max Crosby for how long, I don't know. But this is a team that I do think is going to be in a full rebuild, and it's not going to be tough sledding. So let's do their schedule right now. So for the Raiders, they have their first game of the season is against the Miami Dolphins. If that game was in Miami, I would give Miami the win, but that game being in Vegas and it's week 1, I'm going to give the Vegas Raiders that win right there. Against the Chargers, that will be a loss. Against the Saints, that will be a loss in New Orleans. Against the Chiefs, as I said before, a loss. Against the Patriots, that will be a loss. Against Buffalo, that will be a loss. Against the Rams, that will be a loss. Against the Jets, Again, if that game would have been in Vegas, I would have given the Raiders this one, but that one's going to the Jets. Against the 49ers, a loss. Against the Seahawks, that is a loss. Against the Denver Broncos, do I really need to do James Harden, roll or Costa Crown Gloom? That's a loss. Against Cleveland, that is a loss. If that would have been in Vegas, I'd give him that one. Against the Chargers, getting swept. Against the Broncos, getting swept. Against the Titans, that will be a win. Against the Cardinals, that will be a loss. And against the Chiefs, that is a loss. So a breakdown of the Raiders' record. 1-0 against the Dolphins. 1-1 against the Chargers. 1-2 against the Saints. 1-3 against Kansas City. 1-4 against New England. 1-5 against Buffalo. 1-6 against the Rams. 1-7 against the Jets. 1-8 against the 49ers. 1-9 against the Seahawks. 1-10 against Denver. 1-11 against Cleveland. 1-12 against the Chargers. 1-13 against the Denver. 2-14 against the Titans. 2-15 against the Cardinals. They're going to go 2-16. Actually, no, 2-15. 2-15. So they will go 2-15. 17 games, sorry. So they will go 2-15. And our final one. Gotta be careful because I got a soda on here. Well, we already did the Cincinnati Bengals. That's out. But so we still got to keep it going because we did 3. We done the Bengals, the Chiefs, and the Raiders. The Cleveland Browns. So this is not going to be the finale. So that means I don't know when we'll get the next one in. So we know the last remaining 2 are the Giants and the I'm trying to think who else we got left. I think it's the Giants and the Commanders. That's the last 2 left. So that will be the season finale whenever. I don't know exactly yet when we're going to get to it. But that will be it. So for the Cleveland Browns, Shedeur Sanders is the quarterback. They traded away Myles Garrett to the Los Angeles Rams, literally possibly giving them and handing them their Super Bowl. So I don't know how this Cleveland Browns team is going to do. We're going to wait and see how it goes for Cleveland. So right now I'm going to break down their schedule and I'm going to check them off of my list. So here we go with the Cleveland Browns schedule. All righty. So for Cleveland, their first game of the season is against the Jacksonville Jaguars. That is a loss. Then they play against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That is a loss. After that, they play against the Carolina Panthers. That is a loss. Then they play against the Pittsburgh Steelers. That is a loss. Then they play the Jets. That is a loss. Then after that, they play against Baltimore. That is a loss. Against Tennessee, that is a loss. Against Pittsburgh again, in Pittsburgh, a loss. Against the Saints, that is a loss. Against the Texans, that one's going to be a loss. Against the Raiders, they get a win there. Against the Bengals, they get a win there. Against the Atlanta Falcons, a loss. Against the Giants, that is a loss. Against Baltimore, that is a loss. Against the Colts, that is a loss. And then against Cincinnati, the finale, that is a loss. So a breakdown out of the Browns' schedule. They're going to be 0-1 against the Jags, 0-2 against Tampa, 0-3 against the Panthers, 0-4 against Pittsburgh, 0-5 against the Jets, 0-6 against Baltimore, 0-7 against Tennessee, 0-8 against Pittsburgh, 0-9 against the Browns, against the Saints, 0-10 against Houston, 1-10 against the Raiders, 2-10 against the Bengals, 2-11 against the Falcons, 2-12 against New York, 2-13 against the Ravens, 2-14 against Indy. They're going to go 2-15. So all in all, before I bid adieu and call it a night, I don't know exactly when we'll get the last one of this in. It could be next week, could be somewhere in August. We'll wait and find out and see what we do. That will be that, and then we'll go on the hiatus. So all for and all, before I end and call it a night, it's just been enough time for talk. It's time for kickoff. I'm Dave Walker, and I'll see you on the field. Good night, everybody.